See why? One, it gives you something.
Good morning. Good morning. It's 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, and time to get the January 11th, 2021 meeting of the Pennington County Planning Commission in motion. We want to welcome our newest member, Miss McGregor. Yes, Karen, thank you. And we have our former board member, Mr. Lassiter, who's now here, as I said, wearing a white cape and a different hat because he's going to be with us only occasionally. So we're going to miss him on the other occasions because he's been a great addition, I think, to the commission over the years. Anyway, yeah, we have a quorum of 5, it would appear. Okay. And we should approach, let me read first the section on where this will go after today. Recommendations of the Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda will be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their regular meeting on January 19th, 2021 at 10:30 a.m. And we do use request forms, which are available back there, I believe. If you want to speak, please take advantage of one of those and bring it up here either to me or to one of the staff people so we can keep speakers in order and so forth, and so we know who's coming out. First order of business, approval of the minutes from the December 21st, 2020 meeting. Does anyone have any additions, changes? If not, is there a motion?
I move for approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Indicate with aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Second order of business, approval of the agenda as stipulated in the packet and on the agenda sheet. Is there any indication that anyone would like to change that, or do we have a motion to accept it as is?
I'll move the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda. This would be items 3, 4, 5, and 5. Yes, that's it. Those 3 which would be accepted with a single vote after, when we take a vote, we won't vote on them separately. So anyone in the audience, keep in mind that that's the way we'll address this unless somebody pulls it and wants to discuss it. So first, we'll have our planning director tell us what these items are.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Molitor, Planning Director. The following items have been placed on the consent agenda for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any Planning Commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this Planning Commission are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Item number 3 is conditional use permit review CU 9937 for Bob Young to review a mobile home park in a suburban residential district. Staff recommends to continue the review of conditional use permit CU 9937 for 3 months. Item 4 is conditional use permit review CU 1918 for Perry and Vicky Van Newkirk to review a vacation home rental in a low-density residential district. Staff is recommending approval of the extension of conditional use permit CU 1918 with conditions. And finally, item 5 is conditional use permit review CU 1936 for Black Hills Power. Kyle Young is the agent to review an electrical utility substation in a general agriculture district. Staff recommends approval of the extension of conditional use permit CU 1936 with conditions.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to pull this item and discuss it, any of these items individually? Membership? Staff? I would look for a motion then to approve. the consent calendar?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda items 3, 4, and 5.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor indicate with aye.
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 Okay. Item number 6.
Morning, Commissioner. Chutima Sabun, Planning Department. Agenda item number 6 is conditional use permit CU 2030. The applicants Jay and Mary Smith are requesting a conditional use permit to allow a single-wide mobile home to be used as a single-family residence in general agriculture district. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are here in the audience if you have any question for them. This item was continued from the last meeting to allow time for Bank West on behalf of Ms. Patricia Johnson, the neighbors, the applicant's neighbor, to do research whether that is a negative effect on the property value for the Ms. Johnson's properties. Staff sent a response to Bank West on. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just touched it and I was like, okay. The staff sent a response to Bank West and and then on January 8th, staff spoke with Mr. Smith regarding to the Perry dogs. And he has been working to control the Perry dogs. He is also in the process of file a document for the access easement to his property. And at the time of writing the staff report, staff has not received any concern or complaint regarding this request. So staff recommends approval for conditional use permit CU 20 with 11 conditions.
Okay, any questions on this item?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Travis.
got a quick question. So what's the plan for the prairie dogs? I know that
Mr.
was one of
Smith,
I know
yes.
that was one of the big
That was
issues.
my question too.
Nice to meet you guys this morning.
Could you give us your name?
Pardon?
Could you give us your name?
Jay Smith.
Jay, okay.
Okay. The plan is already in effect. I have talked to the weed and pest guy down there, and we started 10 days ago, and we're approximately a little over half done doing our poisoning for now, and we're going to try to complete it this week. So it's been attacked pretty good.
Okay, so things are progressing.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, another question. Have you received a response from the bank or anything? Because I know they had concern in this, but it looks like we gave them the information, so.
I received a thank you in the email.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Smith?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, is there any other discussion? Anyone in the audience like to speak to this? If not, is there a motion?
I'd move to approve.
Move to approve? A
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Same sign.
Aye.
Item number
Oh.
7.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
No, I misspoke.
you misspoke.
Well, I agreed with it. And then when you asked for opposing, I was re-agreeing. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
She voted twice.
I voted twice in favor.
Okay, hopefully that'll load. Cody Sack, Planning Department. Item 7 is minor plat MPL 20-444. It's to reconfigure lot lines to create lots 12R and 13R of Block 12 of the Ranchette Plat Gap. The applicant is Brian and Summer Book. The agent is Renner and Associates. Currently, it's sits as 3 lots. It's lot 12, 13, and 14 in Black Gap subdivision. Lot 12 does have a single-family residence on the property. Lot 13 and 14 are vacant. Total combined is 2.18 acres. They're proposing to create lots 12R and 13R. They'll be zoned plan unit development. Lot 12R will have the single-family residence on it. Lot 13R will be vacant. This was routed around for comment. The county environmental planner came back and said that a profile hole and percolation test had been done on the property. However, the percolation tests were not done correctly for a mound system, and that a new test will have to be conducted before submitting for a septic permit. And Register of Deeds commented that in the formally section of the plat heading that the subdivision needs to be added. On July 2nd, 2019, the Board of Commissioners approved layout plan LPL 1917 with conditions. Condition 1 was stated that the plat title be amended per Department of Equalization comments. That is the formally. They made the comment back then, and Equalization made it now. So that was a condition that was added into the minor plat, that this be that the proper plat title will be required prior to filing the plat with Register of Deeds. Conditions 2, 3, and 4, it states that they have not been met. However, upon review by staff, they actually have been met. They've been satisfied. The note on the plat stating that a building permit, prior to a building permit, the lots must identify 2 on-site wastewater systems. After the staff report was written, staff was reviewing the plat submitted, and that note is actually on the plat. So it has been met. For the perk test, the applicant submitted a percolation profile hole for lot 13R, which will satisfy the subdivision requirement, regulation requirement. However, the soil profile showed that a minimum of a mound system would have to be used. Percolation tests for mound systems can't be conducted deeper than 24 inches per section 204J2H of the Pennington County zoning ordinance. The tests were conducted at 30 inches. So prior to a building permit and a septic permit being obtained, they'll have to redo the perks at the proper depth. And also, the previous plat noted that each lot must identify 2 on-site wastewater treatment systems accompanying the percolation tests. They will have to submit a second percolation test and profile hole will be needed before the issuance of a building permit. Register of Deeds had made that comment to address the plat heading. Again, that was made a condition, so staff is recommending approval of minor plat MPL 20-44 with 6 conditions.
Okay, thank you. I have one question. I know this Black Gap is a difficult situation in terms of septic systems, of course. But now, when it is mandated that they identify 2 on-site waste systems and do percolation tests for each location, so is that 2 locations, or is it 2 types of systems they have to entertain, or I'm not quite sure what?
It's 2 locations. They basically have to have a spot for where they'd put a reserve drain field if the proposed drain field that they have now would ever fail.
Okay, so it's the locations that need to be duplicated, or there needs to be 2 of.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question. I live in the development, and I guess I don't have a question. This area is kind of damp. They have problems, so I'm assuming that they want to move that lot line to create a building site that's dry enough to build. Do you know?
I believe so. I believe in the future they want to build. They don't have any plans now, but in the future, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions on this issue? Anyone from the audience interested in speaking to this? All right, and lacking further discussion, do we have a motion on this?
I'll move for approval.
Move for approval, second. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. It passes. We go to item 8.
Morning, Commissioners. Jason Thennison, Assistant Director. Agenda item 8 is layout plan 20-45. The applicant is David Spear. The agent and surveyor is Fisk Land Surveying. Janelle is in the audience if you have any questions for her today. The applicant's agent, Fisk Land Surveying, has requested layout plan 20-45 to subdivide and create lot 1 and lot 2 of Grindstone subdivision. As the property sits today, I have it on the screen for you. It's up at the top, proposed lots down below. But as it sits today, it's zoned limited agriculture district, which carries a 10-acre minimum lot size. It is currently 12.8 acres. There's no special flood hazard area on the property. Access is off of Old Hill City Road via 2 existing approaches. There is section line on the property. Contains a single-family residence and 5 outbuildings, as well as an on-site wastewater treatment system. Proposed lots will continue to be zoned limited agriculture district. However, there is a rezone and comprehensive plan amendment being heard as the next agenda item. There's no special flood hazard area on either of the properties. Continues to be section line on the property. Access will continue to be off of Old Hill City Road. Lot 1 will become 3.74 acres and contain a 16 by 24 foot detached garage. And Lot 2 will become 6.52 acres, contains a single-family residence as well as 4 outbuildings and the on-site wastewater treatment system. The request was sent out for interdepartmental review. County Highway did have comments stating that there appears to be 2 approaches on the current lot, neither of which have been approved, so an approach permit will need to be approved for both lots, and this is included as a condition of approval. Department of Equal had a late addition comment to this, so it's not in your packet. So they stated that they will need dimensions and acreage for the dedicated right-of-way, and staff would like to include that as a condition of approval. Staff's analysis of the request is that the approved lots, or the proposed lots, will be below the minimum lot size required for a limited agriculture district, and the applicant's agent has approved for a rezone and comprehensive plan amendment. As I stated, will be heard as the next agenda item. Pennington County's subdivision regulations require percolation tests and profile holes for each proposed lot that will utilize an on-site wastewater treatment system. Proposed lot 2 contains an existing on-site wastewater treatment system. However, a profile hole information and percolation test will be required for lot 1. The applicant's agent has applied for subdivision regulations variance 20-06 to waive this requirement, which will be heard at the January 19th, 2021 Board of Adjustment meeting. There's also a portion of section line on proposed lots 1 and lot 2. Pennington County subdivision regulations require that during any subdivision of the property that the entire 66-foot section line right-of-way be dedicated and improved by the developer. And again, the applicant's agent has applied for subdivision regulations 20-06 to waive this requirement. Right-of-way will be dedicated to Old Hill City Road via this plat. Old Hill City Road is considered a minor arterial and requires 32 feet of minimum driving surface. The driving surface on this plat is 24 feet. And again, the applicant's agent has applied for subdivision regulations variance 20-06 to waive this requirement. Proposed lot 1 will contain an accessory structure prior to a principal structure and will require the property owner to apply for and receive an approved conditional use permit for this use. Beyond that, staff finds no significant issues with the applicant's request as it appears to be in harmony with existing lots and current land uses in the area, and recommends approval of this layout plan 20-45 with conditions. And I would like to add the condition capturing equalizations comments that at the time of minor plat submittal, the plat contained the dimensions and acreage for the dedicated right-of-way.
Okay, so can we just add that as an additional condition? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It's not in the staff report right now because I received the comments after the report was written.
Okay. Questions?
Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question regarding the section line. So that's on the north, along the north, and is the proposal, what's been applied for through this, to waive the subdivision regulation, get a variance, is it just not to create a dedicated right-of-way along there, or is it to actually vacate that right-of-way, or vacate that section line, or, how does that work?
It's not to vacate it, no, not at all. I think in this case, since Old Hill City Road runs,
Right, the section line I thought was north of the property.
it is, yep, it actually carries along this north property line. Yep,
So
but
that's what
according to our subdivision regulations, it needs to be dedicated and improved for any subdivision or development on the property. And that's just as our subregs are written right now. In this case, it looks like Old Hill City Road provides access to the property, so there's really no need to dedicate and improve. And I think that's the reason why they're asking for that subdivision regulations variance.
I see, but it's not going to be, the request isn't to vacate it, it's just simply not to create a dedicated, access
Or
easement.
make improvements, correct.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yep.
Other questions? Anyone in the audience like to speak to this issue? If not, a motion?
I move approval.
A motion, second?
I'll second.
Kathy? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Item 9.
Agenda item 9 is a follow-on request to the layout plan you just heard. It is rezone 20-07 and comprehensive plan amendment 20-05. The applicant's agent, Fisk Land Surveying, has requested the rezone and comprehensive plan amendment to rezone 12.8 acres from limited agriculture district to low-density residential district, and to amend the comprehensive plan to change the future land use from ranchette residential district to rural residential district. The purpose of the request is to support the subdivision under layout plan 20-45. As the property sits today, it is zoned limited agriculture district, which carries a 10-acre minimum lot size. It is 12.8 acres. Future land use is ranchette residential district. Current zoning within 1/2 mile includes general agriculture district, limited agriculture district, as well as low-density residential district. Future land use within 1/2 mile includes ranchette residential district, rural residential district, open space, and planned unit development. Comprehensive plan amendment request 20-05. The applicant has requested to change the future land use of the subject property from ranchette residential district to rural residential district. The applicant's request appears to be in harmony with the county's future land use designations in the area. The request was sent out for interdepartmental review and no comments of concern were received. Staff's analysis of the request is that the applicant's agent applied for layout plan 20-45 in order to subdivide the subject property and create lot 1 and lot 2 of Grindstone subdivision. Proposed lot 1 and lot 2 will be 3.74 acres and 6.52 acres respectively. The minimum lot size in a limited agriculture district is 10 acres. There are several properties zoned low-density residential in the district within 1/2 mile of the subject property, and future land use identifies rural residential district within 1/2 mile. Therefore, the applicant's request to rezone appears to be in harmony with the current and future land use zoning. And staff recommends approval of rezone 20-07 and comprehensive plan amendment 20-05. And these are 2 separate requests, so we will need 2 separate motions for these.
Questions? A motion?
move for approval.
Kathy?
Well, I
Just a
just,
second, we have a motion, but
well, we have two, there needs to be 2 motions.
Yeah.
So I was gonna, are we talking now the rezone or the comprehensive plan amendment? Isn't that right? There needs to be
That's correct.
2.
Yeah, we'll need 2 separate motions, one for the rezone and one for the comprehensive plan amendment.
so this is for the rezone.
Correct.
Right, okay. Any comments on this? Any additional comments on the rezone itself? Okay.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I'll just make a comment. I really, and I've said this before, it's nothing that anyone haven't heard before, is that I think that this area, I just don't think this area is appropriate for 3-acre lots. And I know this one is just a hair larger than 3 acres. I don't even know, I question whether they're even appropriate for 5-acre lots, the rural ranchette, because I know there's some in the old days, there's some of those small lots out there, but looking forward, there's already starting to see more and more development out there. And over time, it's going to be just too many of these small lots for the resources to handle. And primarily, I worry about the water. And you've heard me say that before. Access to water. You know, it's not a true aquifer system up there. You have to just hope that you hit some fractures in the rocks to get your water. And you know, septic's another issue, but I do trust that the requirements for that will work. And then there's the Old Hill City Road, which right now I don't have any concerns about. In the summer, of course, it's a hazard because of the traffic level. But during this time of year, you know, it's going to be a long time, I think, before the development gets to the point where I worry about the road. You know, even though I live right on it. But I really am. I just, as a general practice, I just am really bothered by this trend toward these small acre lots, and so I'm going to be voting no on it.
Okay. I would just like to comment. I would agree with Kathy that I think this is a problematic area, and I think it's going to create torturous difficulties in the future, but they will probably be somewhat in the future. We won't see them ourselves, perhaps, but I think it's poor planning for sure. But I also realize there's a profound pressure here for people to utilize these properties as they to get out into the woods and so forth, and it's going to be difficult. But it does seem like that maybe we ought to at some point recognize this, maybe start doing some thinking about it, because I do think it's potentially problematic. Um, any other comments? Janelle?
Good morning. My name is Janelle Fink. I'm with Fisk Land Surveying, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Spear. And I understand your concerns. It's not specific to this area. It is everywhere in particularly Western Pennington County that we have this interspersement of these smaller lots. And I think it's so difficult because you can look at the future land use map here, and it very clearly shows that touching and surrounding property is zoned this rural residential and allows for the 1 to 3 acre lots.
No,
So,
excuse me, rural residential. I thought. Oh, excuse. You're right. I'm sorry. I was thinking the ranchette. I'm sorry.
right. And, you know, again, there's properties that directly touch this that are already zoned that. So I think almost from a, I don't want to say legal perspective, but I would say it would be difficult to deny somebody this based on those existing uses and this future land use plan that was very recently adopted by this county. Just, I don't know if it helps you or not. Mr. Spear is an older gentleman, retired military widower, and he has 2 sons, and he wants to divide the lot so each son can have 1 lot. It's not always the case, you know, for people, but there's no plans at this time to build on the second lot. Just trying to get his affairs in order for passing that on. So.
Right.
But I do appreciate your comments, and I understand that. Thank you very much.
Could I ask you another question? You know, just sort of as an aside. I mean, you're very experienced in working with landowners out there and doing this. Is it, you know, how do you, or if you care to comment on this, or if you have a thought on it, but you know, and I understand what you're saying, that that's this is how it is, and the future land use, rural residential, which allows for less than 3 acres or up to 3 acres, but no, understanding that this is leading to a problem sometime, and I don't think it's that far off. You know, I'd say in the next 5 years or so, these problems are gonna come to the fore. How, maybe 10, but where do we make a change? How do we make a change so that all of a sudden we say, we just can't continue like this?
I'm not sure that we're the ones that, you know, would make the distinction on that. And I presume that your legal counsel would have to offer some type of opinions as to that. I don't know where you draw the line in the sand. And there's, yeah, I think that's a difficult issue to address. And we butt up against this all the time. It's pretty regular that we come up against things where zoning is inconsistent. It's inconceivably inconsistent the way it is today already. And the future land use plan doesn't help that very much. It seems to me that maybe things weren't looked at, and I'm not disparaging anything here. It's a difficult job, but it seems like there were a lot of broad brushstrokes, if you will, when this future land use plan was created, and nobody bothered to dig into the nuts and bolts of, yeah, this is a problem. I was looking at lots in Cleghorn Canyon the other day, and I've got 2 lots, a 1.5 acre lot, and they're zoned general ag, which requires 10 acres. And the future land use plan shows them at rural ranchette, which is 5 acre minimum. So totally inconsistent. How does this happen? And so I think that maybe at that point, things didn't get looked at closely enough. But again, it's a huge problem. It's not isolated, it's everywhere. So,
Well, you've convinced me that I will vote to approve this, knowing that I do know Mr. Spear, and I do know that I didn't realize that he was planning on giving it to his heirs, but you've convinced me that I will. I'll kick the can down the road a little bit, I guess. Anyway, thank you for your response, Janelle.
Yeah, I would, it seems like we're protecting people from themselves, which is precisely what we're doing, I think, or at least that's the suggestion. And people oftentimes don't want to be protected from themselves. They're willing to make choices that may be in the long term somewhat complicated or difficult. And I think some of these will be. They will run into, difficult situations that will be expensive and difficult to solve. But it really does extend to how much we want to protect people from themselves. So, or we think we do.
Can I just add one thing to that to follow up on your question? So the way that we control further development out there is through the rezones. So it would be through denying rezones and denying people the ability to create those smaller lots, because then they would have a violation.
I know that's how it works in theory, but I guess my question is, when will the situation come so that we actually do those denials, or when the staff recommends denials and we don't approve moving forward, kind of thing? So that's going to be the tricky part.
Okay.
Colin McNee, State's Attorney's Office. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Jason said. It's up for this board to decide when the time is right to deny or approve in the rezones. And it's in essence a legislative function, so there's no 2 + 2 is 4 or anything like that formula-wise. It's what this board, a majority, believes is in the best interest.
Yeah. $25 a meeting.
And sometimes it seems like, we always balance that property rights too. So the moment we do that, then we're saying you can't do what you want on your property, which is technically legal if it's been recommended for.
You're absolutely right. The people making those kinds of decisions should be the county board, not the planning commission, because it's clearly a political issue. It's not a bureaucratic one, I don't think. Because where do you draw that line? And I'm always struck by the 40 residences limit in subdivisions that don't have an additional exit and so forth. Where do you draw the line there? People say, well, yeah, but I bought that lot, 15 years ago and da-da-da-da. And lo and behold, that's a difficult thing, and it's a political decision, which is, I think, far beyond our powers, even though I appreciate what you say, Kathy. I guess we need a motion on this, don't we? Well, any other comments? Any comments from the audience? Do I see a motion to approve, or do we?
Did somebody second on the rezone for Sandy's?
Well, I made the original
Right.
motion,
Okay,
and then it was questioned as to that there were two items upon which a motion could have been made.
Yeah, sometimes they do one motion under the,
So
but
we do need two separate motions, one for the rezone and then one for the comprehensive plan amendment.
right. So
Well,
we have a motion for the first one,
for the
right?
rezoning,
Yeah.
well, I have a motion to, I don't have a second yet.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. Is there a second for the rezone?
I'd second the rezone.
Any other discussion? Any other comments? All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, now we need a motion for
The comprehensive plan
the
amendment.
comprehensive plan departure. Okay, discussion on this? We kind of talked about it.
I move to approve the motion on the changing of the comprehensive plan.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Item 10.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, item 10 is Comprehensive Plan Amendment CA 20-04 to amend the comprehensive plan to change the future land use from low-density residential, rural residential districts, and agriculture district to ranchette residential district. I just want to make a comment on this, that it was incorrectly advertised, that it wasn't agriculture district. It's actually open space, so this request will have to be re-advertised. However, we had planned on continuing this until the March 8th, 2020, or March 8th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting, due to the fact that some of the ordinance changes in Section 200 with the Ranchette Residential District, because that is a district that isn't actually in our zoning ordinance currently, to rezone to a district that is not currently in our zoning ordinance, is not allowed according to our state's attorney's office. So we are requesting, the recommendation is to continue comprehensive plan amendment CA 20-04 to the March 8th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? A motion for continuing this to the March 8th meeting?
I'd move to continue.
Need two for this one too? Or do we need to?
This is actually two separate agenda items. So item 10 is actually a comprehensive plan amendment, and then item 11 is the rezone.
So the first motion is on 10, which is to continue the comprehensive plan amendment.
Correct.
Okay, okay, I'll second
Okay.
that.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
And then item 11 is rezone RZ 20-06 to rezone 69.84 acres from general agriculture district with a minimum 40-acre lot size to ranchette residential district with a minimum 5-acre lot size. Again, staff is recommending to continue rezone RZ 20-06 to the March 8th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting.
I'd move to continue.
I'll
Second.
second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
That's it.
Next item.
The county board report, the Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from the December 21st, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. I just want to make a point that they did approve those ordinance amendments that you guys heard at that meeting, that the Planning Commission heard at that meeting. The second reading will be heard on January 19th, 2021, with the hope that those should be implemented at the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay. Comments, questions? Items from the public? Public? Items from staff? Staff?
We just have the building permit report. This is the final building permit report for the year. We were down a little bit for the overall number of building permits, but I just want to note that there were 75 building permits for those transient building permits for that glamping that was implemented. So that makes the numbers look a little lower than probably what they should be. However, our overall total cost is up about $2 million, and our average cost per permit was up about 6% over the year. So, and just to note too, that our single-family residences were on pace. All things considered, our single-family residences and our mobile homes were steady for the year.
Comments?
So
Kathy?
does the county do a press release on these numbers, like the city does? We see in the front page of the paper of the city, the Rapid City Journal every once in a while about the city's building permits. I mean, I think that, the fact that the total percent change in value up 6%, that's kind of noteworthy. And does the county ever do those kind of press releases?
We do not. We do upload this information onto our planning page, but we don't do any press releases on the information. The information is just presented to this commission.
So it would take a reporter to go after it if he or she wanted to.
Correct.
Yeah, okay, very good, thank you.
Well, we could call down there ourselves and give them the information, talk to reporter and say, we believe this is of interest, here's why, here's the data. Kind of a press release. If the spirit moved us.
I have a just comment.
Sure.
It seems to me, this is a simple-minded perhaps perception, but that Box Elder is gobbling up most of the land that's easy to develop and quickly developed. And does that have an impact on our building? And I know there's lots of county land, but let's face it, the stuff that seems to get developed is close to Rapid City. And is that a factor at all? I'm just curious.
So they do, both Box Elder and Rapid City have 3-mile platting jurisdictions, and there are larger subdivisions within those 3-mile platting jurisdictions. However, we do issue the single-family building permits for those subdivisions, so they are reflected in here.
Okay, okay.
So the two larger ones are the Prairie Fire subdivision, which is south of Highway 44 in Rapid Valley, and then the Murphy Ranch subdivision that is east of Rapid City along Longview. So those are areas that we do see a large number of single-family residences going in. However, those are platted through the city of Rapid City, but the building permits are issued through the county.
So Box Elder doesn't issue building permits?
They do within their city limits, but within their 3-mile platting jurisdiction, we still
okay.
implement or issue the building permits.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. Okay. Items from membership. Anyone planning a vacation or maybe a vaccination? Okay. Last item, adjournment, I guess.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Well, this moved right along, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.